Hello and welcome to this special video from StontonGrangeRailway. I'm Dan, and this loco I have in front of me is my first BR Standard loco. It's a BR Standard Class 4 460 with three types of Class 4. It was the 460, the 260, and the tank, the 264 tank. However, this is a BR Standard Class 4. Class were introduced in 1951 and they were designed for mixed traffic versions to pull secondary passenger trains, so things like the 1017 to Liverpool or something like that, or semi-fast moving freight services where the Class 5s would be too heavy. And it worked from 1951 to when they were retired in about 1967, and this is a Mainline model, so it's quite old, but it's still very well detailed. As you can see, if I flip it onto this side, it's got a very Stanier type tapered boiler, and it's got the leading bogie. It can come off quite easily. Ta-da! But it goes back on very easily. Takes no more than 10 or 15 minutes. But it does run superbly well. It's very quiet when it runs, and it runs extremely smoothly, and it's quite strong. If you look here, we've got a 3,500 gallon tender with rivets along the side and a BR early emblem. As you can see, no spring loaded buffers, and it's got large couplings, but it's an older locomotive, number 75006. This locomotive, however, is slightly special because this is the first video in the Grandma's Train project, which is dedicated to my late grandmother who passed away in August 2012. So this engine is going to be named after her and it's going to run in her memory. So we're going to be teaching things like how to touch up your locomotives and how to fit a headboard, nameplate, how to fit a nameplate. And I'm actually considering building a water tender for this locomotive. And you're probably wondering why, but they were considering building a water tender. Don't know who they were. People were considering building one for Duke of Gloucester. So they did exist, the plans for one do exist. But this model is simply superb. I mean, the BR Standard classes are extremely underrated. I mean, these are the Standard Class 4s, so they weren't primarily strong. I mean, obviously you had the 8P, which was Duke of Gloucester, who I've already mentioned, but obviously you have things like the Standard Class 4, and there was the Standard Class 3s, and the 9Fs, and other classes of locomotive, where they were used to help the ageing locomotives. That BR, sorry about doing that, but BR had inherited from the Big Four. That was 16,000 steam locomotives, which is an amazing figure if you think about it. Obviously this is all loco came with. There was no box or anything. But I paid £28 for this, and the guy who sold me it told me she'd been lying idle on a shelf for quite a long time. So I thought, get it for the Grandma's Train project. Although for the Grandma's Train project, I was originally looking for a Fairburn passenger tank. However, the only one I can find is DCC fitted, that's brand new. So I then opted to go for a BR Standard Class 5, which came with a larger BR, I've just got to look at what it's called, BR 2A tender. However, I bought this Standard Class 4 because it was primarily quite cheap, and it was very good for what it was worth. And obviously if I flip it round, and if the cameraman, who isn't going to be sacked, can zoom in, there is a little bit of sort of like matting come off, but a little bit of model paint should be fine with that. Alternating the smoke box door is all pristine. It doesn't open, sadly, but you know, you can't have everything. Single chimney. The dome is quite far from the centre of the boiler, which produced quite a lot of pressure for these sorts of locomotives. And it was a BR4 boiler primarily, with 200... Obviously the tender has a mind of its own. With 225 square pounds of pressure, and a fire gate area of 26.7 square feet, these were ideal, and this model is ideal for anyone who models anything that's after the Big Four, because BR standard classes weren't allocated to certain regions. Like some of the BR class 4s might have been on the southern region, some of them might have been on the London North Eastern, Midland, or the Great Western region. Different tenders allocated where they were. I don't know where this one particularly was. However, if I just get a coach to put behind her, strangely another BR standard design, the Mark 1. It does look superb. I mean, I've had this pulling sort of 10, 11 coach trains. I did try 14 coaches, but she broke down. And it's amazing what these locomotives can be like. I mean, I would thoroughly recommend this to anyone. You can get your hands on a Mainline standard class 4. I mean, this is 75006, but I think they did another one with a slightly larger tender, and I know they did a BR standard 4 tank, which I won't be getting because I'm tempted to get a Stanier and a Fairburn tank, and if I get a BR standard one as well, that would be a massive overload of London Midland Region 264T. But, excuse me, I would recommend this. If you can get your hands on one, do. This is Dan. Thanks for watching this video. If you feel like subscribing, do. If you feel like anyone would like to share this video, then do. And if you want to see more, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Sort of getting something through my earpiece now. We've got the next video will be coming up in a few weeks' time, where we will be running her behind some coaches. So that will be a good sight to see. So bye bye for now.